Welcome back. All right, so this video would have been up sooner, but had to do my treadmill and also did a podcast that's available on the Entertainment Guy channel, so there's that. But at any rate, yes, I did hear that the Washington Capitals have agreed to part ways. It's a mutual parting of ways between Peter Laviolette and the team. Now, I think it's interesting that Anaheim and Washington need a coach, and look at that, Bruce Boudreau is available. So there's that. I'll just throw that out there. Also, I wonder how much input Alex Ovechkin might have had on this. How much the rumors that maybe Kuznetsov wanted out, maybe that had something to do with it. But either way, Laviolette done in Washington. For the Capitals, of course, a disappointing season. It's interesting too putting this one on. I was like, right, yeah, the 2018 Stanley Cup. I remember getting that patch 5 years ago, and it was this great run. And now here we are, half a decade later, and it's done. And now the Capitals making a change behind the bench, and so we'll see what the future looks like for them. They haven't named a replacement yet. That, of course, that process can take a little bit of time. Calgary news. So with the Flames having a disappointing season, and of course 1 year removed from Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk saying, that's nice, but we're out. There's a sensitivity now in Calgary that I, as a Canucks fan, completely identify with. This fear that players are going to leave. And right now, with them cleaning out their lockers, which I think is the worst time to ask players when they're disappointed in their season and they're not happy with how things went, may not be the time to ask them. So are you anxious to come back for more of this? So Elias Lindholm and Michael Backlund, both really non-committal about their futures with the team beyond next season. And just I understand it doesn't necessarily mean they're on their way out, but of course Gaudreau and Kachuk were both gung ho, and then they were gone. So I get the paranoia and the fear in it. It may not be paranoia. Maybe Lindholm, Backlund are looking at their careers, looking at where they're at, and saying, we might be better off elsewhere. So we'll see whether or not there's anything to that. But again, I don't think you have to trade a guy when they're a year out from the end of their contract. I'm looking at Winnipeg with Dubois in the playoffs as a for example. But yeah, JT Miller, speaking of players on Canadian teams that missed the playoffs, Miller's saying all the right things right now. And that's the thing. But he's also admitting he was kind of garbage in the first half of the season, not denying it, not running from it, and admitting it. And really liking his game in the second half of the season, liking things under Tocchet, liking the commitment to the defensive side of the puck and the systems that have been put in place. Miller's saying all the right things. And I don't get the impression he's on his way out. I have already seen people talking about with Hextall being fired, well, there goes the kind of Canucks plans to trade him to Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't think that was happening anyways. But at any rate, yeah, Miller, I think, is going to stay in Vancouver. They're going to have to get creative about finding ways to make the salary cap space work, especially if Aquilini's not willing to do any kind of buyouts. And that's already a conversation that's out there, too, is whether or not there will be buyouts this summer and where the team stands on that. So I don't have any major concerns with the Canucks going to the offseason because I have no expectations for next year. That's really kind of where it's at. So we'll see. Gabe Landeskog. So I talked about this a couple days ago, yes, but I wanted to put this officially into a news video as well. That Landeskog will not return in the playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs without Landeskog, it's going to be tough to repeat. It's tough to repeat anyways. There are very few repeat teams. Ask the Caps about that. But yeah, without Landeskog, that's definitely going to hurt. There was some hope that he might be back for the playoffs. Keep in mind, about halfway through the season, there were rumblings that Landeskog's injury could end up being career threatening, that it could end up being the end of his career just in general. I haven't heard that lately, but hearing that he won't be back for the playoffs is definitely tough. Hopefully he's able to come back for the start of next season. The St. Louis Blues, no change in head coach there. I don't normally report too much on assistant coaches, but in this case, noteworthy that it's Craig McTavish and Mike Van Ryn that are out of jobs in St. Louis as the assistant coaches. So, again, Berube, nothing about him, but definitely some changes in the way that the coaching's being done in St. Louis. Makes some sense. We have Columbus, Buffalo, Nashville playing today. All three of those teams, we could see changes at the top of the organization. Of course, Nashville, there's a plan at the top for Barry Trotz to take over, and then there's the question of whether or not John Hines sticks around as coach, right? Also, Matthew Barzal. Barzal saying he expects to play in Game 1 for the New York Islanders against Carolina. That's bad news for Carolina. Matt Barzal being back in the lineup for the Islanders should make a big difference to their attack. The Islanders making the playoffs, getting in, and showing how important that is by Pittsburgh and Washington making the moves they did today. You don't make the playoffs, well, there you go. And so, yeah, Barzal should be good to go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. How much of a game changer is it for Barzal being back in the lineup for the Islanders? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.